What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Drew here to welcome you to another episode of the Andrew Glowczewski Experience. This is going to be episode 214. Already losing my voice, man. I ain't even started talking yet. I guess I got to drink some more water. And we're going to continue with these airplanes that I didn't get to work on before. So yeah, I'm going to do maybe one more Harrier jet study, then I'm going to jump back on the Phantoms. And then maybe after that, uh, maybe just look into other jets, maybe. And then there's still some console stuff I want to do, like pilot seating arrangements and things like that. But yeah, that's gonna be what's on this page. And let's hope this is gonna be a decent stream, unlike the short ones I've been doing recently that have just been kind of thrown together to uh, get a stream out there, but also let's just make sure this is a good one. I got let me see. Oh wow. So apparently, I always watch the Kill Tony podcast, and he got in trouble maybe a month ago or something. He made like a Asian joke, and then there's like a guy who was Asian who like called him out on it, like on video or something, and he got like canceled but not canceled because he's a comedian. And apparently the guy who called him out, this guy Peng Dang or something, he's also a stand-up comedian who does nothing but racial jokes, and not just about Asians but about other races and things like that. So it's like kind of hypocritical. I think that's what the point of this video is. It's uploaded by Ari Shafir, another very controversial comedian. Let me lower this camera so we can start to prep this thing. But yeah, so Ari Shafir uploaded this video of the guy who complained, Peng Dang, doing jokes about like races and things like that. And it's like, if you're gonna make those jokes, why would you call out another comedian who's also doing the same thing that you're doing? So it's weird. I'm sure that's why Ari's doing it, putting something up there like that, because the title of the video is "What the Media Doesn't Show You," and it's like, oh, okay, because yeah, it made it out to seem like Peng Dang was like a victim or something, and it's like, no, he's just another guy, another comedian. It's funny. I didn't know that part. I'm gonna go drink some water, and yeah, I'm gonna draw another Harrier with the wings coming from up top. Then I'm gonna jump to Phantoms with the wings on the bottom. Hopefully something happens with that, like something decent, and then we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, I'm gonna be on this stream for a while, I feel like. So don't be scared to kind of sit back or whatever. If you're catching this later on, you could always fast forward through these intros and things like that. Like if you're catching this on YouTube way later, it is what it is, man. If you want to catch me live though, Mr. Drew on Twitch. I upload these on my Patreon usually right afterwards, so you can catch them on Patreon as well, like much sooner than on YouTube. And you will have to be a patron to see those videos. Then that starts at $1, but starting at $3, you actually get commissions and portraits or just any sort of illustration from me. And depending on the tier, will get you certain I guess artworks from me. And yeah, man. So yeah, let's get that water and let's stop talking. Let's start drawing, right? All right. Here we go. I met this basketball player from Slovakia. His name is David. I hate that guy because he acts like he's Man, this whole set's about race. It's crazy that he would complain about another comedian doing jokes on race. Oh wow, Pang Dang introing Tony. I wonder if this is like some old shit. Yo, what's up, Kickstand? I'm chilling, man. It's funny. I was rewatching the last stream. I was looking over the book part, and I was like, oh man, I'm terrible at this. I was like, I hope he I hope you got some sort of motivation or something just to push them in the right direction. So I'm glad to hear it, man. But yeah, it's good to see you. But yeah, if you're just lurking, it's all good, man. No worries. This one's definitely gonna be longer, like a longer stream. I know last time I cut it off at an hour. I cut it off a little soon, but yeah, this one I'll be here for a while. That's good, man. So you making the Fakemons? I'd love to see what they look like. I don't know if you could hit me up on Twitter or something, or however you could shoot a message or shoot a picture over. I probably. Oh, you know what? I don't think I talked about it last time, but I have in the story I'm working on. I have some like bumping the camera. I have some Pokemon like creatures or whatever in my story because I always had thoughts on Pokemon, so it was like I just wanted to make them in order to be able to get my thoughts out. All right. Intro to Lovecraft Live. Oh, this is a live video? Oh shit. I thought this was gonna be like a video. Hold on. I got YouTube playing in the background. Don't know if you can hear it. I thought that was gonna be a long video. Or just like a regular video about Lovecraft stuff. It would have been super interesting. But if it's live, I don't want to hear some other guy just like kind of give his thoughts. I'm pretty sure I probably watched it a while back, anyways. Alright, got a David Finch stream. Artist study with Claire Wendling. Style workout with David Finch and Eric Grove. Alright. I don't know who Claire Wendling is, but I'm about to find out. Oh, okay. So on Twitter, I could check it out. Okay. Just did a Subnautic Inspire Heat Vent Fakemon. I may do some Fakemon based off my fears, because that's easy to do. I got like 3 of them. That's awesome. There we go. All right, so are you Kickstand 284011111111 on Twitter as well? Cause yeah, I got to get better on Twitter anyways. So I mean, if you know, chatting with the chat is gonna get me better at YouTube. That'd be super dope if that's gonna be the actual kind of vehicle for me to. You know what I was thinking about is I haven't watched any. I haven't watched any of Junji's videos. He just started like spamming videos when he opened up that gallery. So I kind of stopped watching them so I could watch other things, but man, it's been a while. I feel like I should probably revisit his channel maybe. Maybe I'll do that tonight. I'll be streaming all night, so. Kickstand 284, I believe, on Twitter. Okay. For my height fear, I could do a Pokemon in his never-ending fall. For my socializing fear. Oh yeah, I feel like the spider Pokemon would probably be easier since it's an actual like a creature, you know. For the socializing one, like if it's a party theme, uh, alcohol usually does a lot to loosen people up in order to have the conversations, you know, to muster up the courage. Not that I'm suggesting drinking in order to have courage, but you know, alcohol does help people kind of loosen up. So it could be like a drink of some sort, like a martini glass. I don't know. And then, but yeah, fear of height. I wonder what you could do about that. The trapdoor idea. That's interesting. Kind of like portals and things like that. But yeah, man, that sounds dope. Oh, this is kind of dope. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the weird part about what I found is kind of weird when I'm streaming is like I never know how old people are that are, that I'm talking to, you know. So I've met people that are, like 9 years old or 12 years old or something. And then, I've met adults and then people like my age and things like that. Yeah, so it's always interesting because, yeah, I wouldn't.
So I was watching some videos of her drawing, and it didn't look like she was using much construction lines. It was crazy. She was just getting after it. It was very impressive. Yeah, very gestural and everything she does. Yeah, I'll try it.
There we go.
Yes.
Is kind of like an undershot that I'm working on. I'd say start off with some sketches. What's interesting about the trapdoor one is I'm thinking about Faust from Guilty Gear a lot. He has a move set where he kind of like opens like a door manifests. He opens the door, steps through it, and then reappears somewhere else on the screen. Sometimes he'll drop down from above them. So I don't know if like you could have a Pokemon who has like trap doors. I imagine they would probably have to have the type of body that can or anatomy that can open doors. You know what I mean? So something a little more humanoid.
Yeah.
Or the spider. Spider's probably a little more straightforward as far as like design goes and things like that. There we go. That's yeah, exactly. Um, think of like that video game Portal. How you had a portal. That whole portal idea. Like if you look at the portal icon, I believe it goes something like that. Like you have the entrance and the exit, and you kind of have a person kind of passing through, and then on this side you have the the rest of the body, and then it's like, because this is the portal that they're passing through. So kind of like trapdoors, portals, but for the sake of the fear of heights, like let's say this is your ground, and you have a portal here, and saying let's just do the same thing just for the argument's sake or whatever. So you going through the portal, but then the portal could open up here, with the height, so the fear of height thing, and then coming down this way. So they would be going this way, but like there's a character in this video game called Guilty Gear. His name is Faust, and he's kind of like a really wild, crazy character with a bunch of funky, weird moves. And one of his moves is able to open up trap doors and things like that. So then when your opponent walks into them, like they'll end up somewhere else, or he can walk into them and then end up somewhere else, kind of like teleporting across the screen, as far as like the game mechanic goes and things like that. Yeah. I mean, so that's like a trapdoor idea, but it's a little more complex, I guess, to try to initiate. So if like maybe that's what I'm saying. You could just, if you have a fear of spiders, just look them up. And you could probably just sit there and draw spiders all the way until like you get an idea of a specific idea.
Yeah, it's alright. I'll just need to, when your hand's gone, I'll just need to. That's okay. You carry on. And then I'll, yeah, that's right. I think the basic idea is now. Okay.
Signature move that allows you to take no damage from attacks a couple turns.
Okay.
I mean, exactly. It could teleport moves away if there's like projectiles and things like that. It could just teleport or trapdoor, the projectiles away and things like that. Exactly. Send them back. Yeah, that's what's good about the internet. You can just look at the picture. Like me personally, I get freaked out by sharks, but I can look at pictures of them all day. I think they look great, but something about how helpless you are in the water, and how that's just like an apex predator in the water, it just always puts me at dis-ease. So like sharks freak me out. Some sharks I could barely even look at pictures of them. Like I just really can't stand sharks.
And this is where, especially with Dan, she was truly incredible. So I wasn't looking at my reference. I was kind of drawing my own hand, and you can see, I mean, this is where I'm sorry, Eric, I need to cover a little bit.
All right.
But came up here just a little bit more, and then I got that. And then the shape hooked in here. And I'm just going to simplify the fingers this time. Because really, it's got that wrist connection. She's incredibly good with that. And you can see that mine, unfortunately, pales in comparison. I'm hoping that I can capture that better in the next, once I do my own version. So I feel like I can see what I did wrong, and I could have just moved on. We'll see. And if you want to draw the clothes, if you're following along, and I hope that you are, certainly feel free. I mean, there's lots to be gotten from that too. Come into her ankle. And this figure that she's drawn here, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know this because I wasn't there.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Without reference. And this is just, a result of.
I wouldn't know anything. I've never seen a shark in real life, at least outside of an aquarium, you know. But just the thought of them, and then seeing pictures of some of them, they're just monsters.
I like how she defines her needs. Everything is so simple, and I tend to.
You know, like I live in a beach town, and I go in the water a lot, and I'll still be afraid of sharks, or I'll go scuba diving. I'll still be afraid of them, like afraid of the thought, but I'm not worried about it.
Really nice flowing
At
outline.
the end of the day, if someone does get bit by a shark, chances are they're probably, you're out in the shark's territory. Stay out of the water, and you don't have anything to worry about.
And even her toe.
And it's like you said, they're probably not even that as bad as they're made out to
And
be.
then you've got the actual toe shape here.
There's a statistic saying that people get hit by coconuts, or people die from coconuts falling on their head more so than shark attacks. And it's funny because I remember I was walking around the neighborhood one day, and I walked past this the same path I always walk, but it's underneath a coconut tree. And I remember I was just walking, and I felt this vibration behind me, like a big doom, and like the ground shook behind me. I'm in Florida, so there's not earthquakes or anything like that. And I looked, and it was about 1 second behind me. Maybe a step or two behind me, a coconut had just fell, and it was giant. It was bigger than my head and heavy enough to shake the ground.
Shape like this.
When it hit the floor, and I was like, oh, I could see why people die from coconuts. And I always thought about that. Ever since that happened, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, people are more likely to die from coconuts than shark attacks. And maybe my fear of sharks is a little goofy, but you know, they're still sharks at the end of the day.
It is when
But yeah, I often think about that coconut whenever I'm in the water thinking about sharks and things like that. It's just like, all right, the coconut thing didn't happen, and that's more likely to happen. So maybe that was just life's way of telling me, hey, don't worry about the sharks, retard.
They're normally pretty expensive.
They are. I got this one at a convention. This is one I love conventions for that. Just going to booksellers and finding these kinds of books.
The Lights of the Amelie one, which we'll reference for hands, that one is probably one of the most readily available, I think. It's only in French, but you can get it in English too.
Yeah, we'll be looking at that one quite a bit. All right. So before we move on, let's see how Eric is coming along here.
Going a bit small. Let me zoom in.
No, it's all right. Actually, I can see it. I think they show up really well. They look great.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, those legs. I think the shape really captured it really nicely. Yeah, awesome. And the feet look great. Page One Comics. Jimmy says, "Where did you get the book from?" I got it from a convention. So unfortunately, not from online, but I have actually gotten it. I got bought some of her books online. I bought a bunch. I actually bought the one that you have, Eric. I bought a few versions of it. I bought another one that I love, and I gave it to my niece. I need to replace it. She's drawing. I gave it to her a couple years ago. I don't have it anymore. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Find my mouse. There's got to be a better way to do this. All right, here we go. Next drawing. I think. Here we go.
Oh no. My internet's failing.
Oh, is it? Oh no. Oh, it is. You just come right back in.
No, I'm joking. It's a horse.
Okay, so I'm gonna do this figure here. I think it's such a great looking figure. So
That's the Minotaur.
Sure.
Is it a Minotaur? I wonder if I can find this. If I can find the image. It's a bit hard to see. Let me see. I need excuses here.
Yep. And bear in mind, Eric, we're doing sketches. You don't need the detail. The whole point is, like, I think.
Yeah, they say people fear things. Like when people fear something, like let's say for instance, you have a fear of spiders, but you've never really come across a spider before. Like you never were ever in some real spider danger, let's say. They say the reason why people have that is because of a genetic fear, meaning maybe somebody in your past had, maybe a spider killed a relative way in the past, and one of your distant ancestors has a memory of it, and then that genetic memory lives on through the genes, and that's how we learn to survive and how to be cautious about things and all that sort of stuff. So, maybe someone a long time ago in your family just got hurt by a spider, and your families kind of remember that and made note of it. And then when they continued to have babies, the next generation were like, oh yeah, we don't mess with spiders. And that's usually how it goes. So I'm sure my shark fear has something to do with that. Maybe somebody just went swimming on the wrong day.
And then for the back, I'm going to draw a bit of a flattened shape like this. Now, look, this is just how I'm mentally breaking it down for myself. I don't want to suggest somehow that this is like a great academic method of drawing.
Yeah, I think it's called genetic memory. So it's like memories that get passed down through genes.
And just find shapes for yourself. And you'll find the shapes that your simplification will actually be.
Yeah, that's why people are like afraid of bugs and things.
And then there's a bit more here, and then you got the hook. And
I mean, not to mention that they're just creepy, the way they crawl around and stuff is like alien to us.
Legs, so that would be kind of the triceps in here. And so the arm anatomy comes in here, and she's got the hook covered. I'm just going to fake it. We can't see the other hook. I've kind of come off, you can see that she's really created a great line all the way through here, and I've lost that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to fix that now, but that's the kind of thing I really want to bear in mind. It's part of her power, and you can really see it. She's accentuated it with, she's got a string that she's pulling up, and it's part of what makes that figure so good, and so losing that is a shame, but that's what it is sketching a lot of times. And, this kind of sketching is what really makes me aware of those sorts of lines, especially when I miss them. And I think I'm going to do the head too, the headdress, just because it looks great. It's just got some great shapes to it. So overall, shape like this.
Another super chat from Ted from Artworks. Just wanted to say hi. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much, Tagmo. As always, great to see you here. Hopefully you're drawing.
There we go. This is a neat shot from underneath. I like this.
Over here.
A little bit different from all the other ones I've done.
My skulls that I ever draw in comics are all kind of from my quick novel.
Hey, thanks, man. I draw a little bit of everything. The story I'm working on, I created an entire universe. So I have all sorts of props, vehicles, characters, and environments that I'm gonna have to work on.
much more.
So yeah, I'll kind of be working on everything
So
and doing a whole bunch of studies like this, but also
go ahead and tighten this one
uh,
so I can get a little
when
bit
it
more.
comes, at least when it comes to the characters, not so many studies because the characters I've kind of already worked and finished, you know, in the past few years, and then that's when I started the stream. So the character stuff will be pretty straightforward.
On this year.
But yeah,
Right
the
now, there's time going to a convention at
props and environments, that's all going to be stuff that's kind of goes like how this has been
my only concern is just
with me
horror, and that's one thing I
kind of feeling it out and working my way through the ideas.
imagine they're gonna extend
So
longer.
yeah, I hope you enjoy those sort of things. I'll be doing that. I appreciate it, man.
Past August, but things change, so I just don't know. All right, I really want to kind of capture it. So I can see it, the clavicle line just up here, and then there's a
Let me check
shoulder
something.
here, and in your arm you've got your bicep, just like this, and then you've got a little. Here's your deltoid, and then you've got your tricep here, and there's a bit of a connection muscle underneath. And the way that she's drawn this, she's drawn that connection muscle and then line up to the biceps. So if you don't know your anatomy, and then she's actually come all the way down here, and so she's drawing different muscles in there, just kind of hitting on each one. And so if you don't know your anatomy, it can make it really difficult to be able to kind of
Oh, okay.
get a sense of what she's doing there.
I'm checking out your Twitter to see some posts. But yeah, that's dope, man. I see. Yeah, you definitely got a bunch of like monsters and Pokemons and animals and things like that. Wow, that's awesome. Did I lose my stream? Or not my stream, but did I lose the YouTube video? Come on, man.
And then line up to the biceps. So if you don't know your anatomy, and then she's actually come all the way down here, and so she's drawing different muscles in there, just kind of hitting on each one. And so if you don't know your anatomy, it can make it really difficult to be able to kind of get a sense of what she's doing there. And I have to admit, there are places, especially when it comes to animals, where I just don't know well enough. Like in the rump area, I know where the muscles go. I've looked at a lot of actual like life reference for horses too, and trying to reconcile anatomy books and actual pictures of horses is really difficult to really nail it down. I've been struggling with it, and she does it beautifully. I don't really have that level of understanding.
On the animal reference books that you had mentioned before, Dave.
Yeah, I've got them. Yeah, we really should cover that at some point. This is gonna be a lot of fun. But for now, just doing this, yeah, I enjoy this so much every single time. I forget to
Make what the Hebrew says, so I'm just going to find it.
Okay, it's a skull.
Okay.
Can you make your window bigger? I know you wouldn't be able to see chat if you do that, but
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. That is decent enough. Let me see. See what else I could do here.
and then there's kind of hair back here. I'm not gonna worry about that, but I do want to worry about that hand.
I want to get another parking shot like I did over here. I can't stop thinking about it. With the wings folded. So they slope down, shoot back up, and then kind of touch back. Okay. Yeah, I want to try to get some parking angles like that. See if I can really push the folds and the wings.
And I really like
So I
the
can
way
really get that
and then
folded wing
this is
idea going.
muscle just up here next to the bone right there. And I find, I have to admit, because I've drawn a decent amount of animals, um, I don't need to know exactly where everything goes quite as much as I do with a human figure. It's amazing how just shapes, and especially because they're covered in fur, there's a lot that you really can't detail like on a person. You're not going to see a horse walking around with a superhero suit on. So
Oh, yeah.
a lot of it is just dealing with broader shapes.
So it looks like that horse's front leg, I guess, is almost like a deltoid on it.
Yeah, that would be here.
Yeah.
It's very differently shaped and smaller. And then your clavicle, it's not your clavicle, your shoulder blade kind of comes up like this. So on a horse, on a human, here's your back. You've got
Yeah, maybe it's just an episode. You know, as far as like the levels of anxiety.
shoulder blade here along
I mean, they're probably always going to be there, but you know, maybe just at the moment they're a little high.
you've got your
They'll come back down.
here's your chest. Your shoulder blade
You know, sooner or later.
sits here, and then your arm connects down like that. So it's the same operation. It just rides along the side as opposed to along the back. And the proportions are different, but the general musculature is the same. And I wasn't really liking some of my proportion there. I'm just kind of putting it and fudging it a bit. And really, the point for me always is just to capture shapes as much as I can and get as much from it as I can. So I try not to sweat too much. That sounds like it's an excuse. It's because it's an excuse. There. Oh, and there's the other arm here. So that's basically going to do it. And you can see she's got some detail here for her. This ridge here on your back would be this broad muscle you have down the center of your back, right here. And then this here is her line for her shoulder blade on the horse. So just knowing that really can make things quite a bit easier.
Sweet.
Supersonico says, "Look awesome. It looks awesome, Dave. Thank you so much, Supersonico." And Resting here, he says, "I see houses wearing superhero. I see houses wearing superhero suits all the time." Yeah. Is that what I said? Probably. All right. So I'm gonna move on from that one, and we're gonna do. What do we got? We got three. Let's do two more, Eric. That's all.
Yeah.
And I see the next one that I want to do right here. It's going to be this one here. And I know, again, it's small, unfortunately. I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit to see if that'll help.
Are you drawing the animal too? He's drawing her, right?
Yeah, you know, for this one, I just drew her.
Okay. Change monitor angle here. There we go.
Pretty much I can come in and still be in the screen here. And it's light.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. I'm bouncing everything. Every time I bounce, because my camera's so constant on my desk, the whole thing bounces. All right. So yeah, we're gonna draw this figure, and so I'm gonna start with the chest.
Yeah,
The
look
chest
at
is
look at what they're drawing.
really
Oh, they're sketching like a
and the
chick with a
legs are
tiger.
pointed.
That's
So
dope.
she's coming this way, and then the legs are slightly turned this way. I just want to get her general chest shape there, and then her pelvis shape. She's got a very long pelvis. And you can see the cut kind of here. I'm drawing over my book. erase that. And we're done. And then she's got this one coming out here. And about here.
So if it folded, came out towards us and then back in. Okay. And then fold it that way. Fold it. Oh, neat.
We're making good time here. It's only 8:35, so
Okay.
doing all right. And
So
then
then
for
this would
shape
come
here,
back
I really
here.
like to drop it
Kind
here,
of cut back that
So-
way.
And
that.
another thing that I like, she's got this ankle here. I really like to draw that as this kind of shape. So I've got my foot, and then my
See, this is the
ankle
neat part
sits
about design.
over it, like this.
Is it
And so that would be my
sometimes things just line up.
whatever reason for me
That's the whole point of all these sketches and all these studies is just keep drawing, keep drawing, keep drawing, and then
What I am saying is that's a shape.
you figure it out. You find out like, oh, there's angles here and there's
Draw a ball here,
that there.
coming off of that bottom.
Her knee definition really helps drawing the leg muscle fit. I don't know what that sartorius. I don't know what that muscle is that wraps around the knee that goes all the way to the hip.
Yeah, this one, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, it really defines that very nicely. It really helps.
yeah, that's a really good defining point. So her head kind of tilted, just about like this. I'm probably not even going to draw the face on this one. Her hand is really very cool, but it's so small. I'm going to draw it. Unfortunately, I wish my picture was a little bigger. It's hard for me to see looking at it. I'm looking right at the actual book on the screen. But she's got fingers kind of coming down like this. And then she's pointing at this one. And then
Oh yeah, that's wild. I'm not sure, man.
that's basically it.
I don't know.
Really great shape language. I love the way that she's got this arm drawn here. The connection with the hand there is really great. She's got the bone of the wrist there.
Well, if you listen to music, you can keep drawing.
And this is a hand that I've drawn, and I'm not going to say I've drawn it as well as Claire Wendling for a second. But I
Who
will
knows,
say that
maybe-
I've drawn
Maybe you don't feel like drawing at the moment.
from memory several times after working on this stuff. Working with her work, I got a lot out of it. I especially got hands out of it, and it made a big difference for me. Like I found it's so easy when you're drawing to end up with, you have 4 or 5 hands that you do all the time. And so looking at something like this, and learning from it, yeah, it just gives you a lot more to draw from. Tom Morris has a super chat for $5. I don't see a chat. Thank you very much, Tom. If you do have a chat, be sure to put it in there so we can see it. And Mbetse Zico says her costumes have a lot of personality. They really, really do. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to draw the line for her chin. I normally, when I tighten up, I end up starting with the eyes, but I'm just drawing a shape for her head.
Yeah, it's that hand that she has got down there.
And so, what's that?
The hand that she put down there is her right hand.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? They're so easy to draw when you really know how to do it.
So Nadachi.
I know how to do it as well as she does, but I'm telling you right now that.
All right, Kickstand, you have fun with the Minecraft stuff.
Before working for a good week, and I went from struggling and just really having trouble with the shapes, like it just was not.
Yeah, I've been working on vehicles since I've been working on that Cyclops character, and he's part of the Air Force in the military. So while I'm in the middle of working on him, I wanted to do some airplane vehicles, but obviously I kind of wanted to make them up, so I'm just doing some studies, and then I'm kind of taking those studies and now I'm starting to push them so that way they're not even like real studies anymore. They're just me kind of like making my own vehicles. So I'm kind of hitting that middle point in between studying the real planes and now turning them into my own designs. But yeah, so that it's all still related. But yeah, it's super difficult, man. Obviously it's not like what I usually do. Like characters and human anatomy, I could draw all day long. And then it's like these planes because they're so angular and then you're drawing them on angles and it's like to try to be mindful of all that stuff and have it all like make sense. It's really hard. These wings, for instance, the way that they slope down from the top of the vehicle, if you're looking at it from underneath, like how this wing is shorter or appears to be shorter than this wing, but it's only because the angle that it's on, the wing is actually kind of sloping down towards you. So it's like that, uh, what's it called? Foreshortening that's making this wing look shorter, but in actuality, obviously, they're the same size. And it's like little things like that it's like, oh man, it's super hard to try to, even like how this back slope right here, and then to get on this side is like it kind of almost goes behind the vehicle, so you don't really see it. So it's not like connected up here. It slopes down. So getting like all these angles on an angle, too many angles. So yeah, it's exactly. Realism bent into fantasy. Bent realism. It's gonna be the new style, bent realism. With the combo of like smooth curves and blocky shapes. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do right now with this one is get the parked vehicle. So this is almost like a side picture. It's kind of like a profile slash three-quarter view of when they're parked. I really liked this aesthetic of having the wings like they slope down from the top, but then they fold back upwards. Kind of like Spike from Cowboy Bebop, how his swordfish, the wings folded up. So similar to that. So the wings fold up and then just another fold in, and then it kind of gives this hexagon shape with the tires applied and everything like that. Like I really like this. So it's like, all right, maybe I could do some angles of this and that and try to understand it a little bit better. And then I'm also trying to work on like size and scaling, to make these things smaller than what they are in like real life. So then just to try to like crunch them, make them like a chibi version, but like not so stylized. It's a real it's a real bad balancing act to try to do.
Yeah, that hand just feels comfortable for me. And
But yeah, it's a ton of fun.
Liz is
Ton of
certainly
fun
like
trying to
this
figure all
one
this
that
stuff out.
hand. So, and yeah, that's how you are.
And I can't wait to actually like draw these things or even get to the point where I'm like animating them one day. Because like at the same time I'm thinking of all these other things that I don't really want to discuss or expose. But yeah, I kind of like it because it's small and it's a one-seater. And I kind of got the wheels going how I want them to, right? Yeah, because they kind of go on the inside, so you wouldn't see them here.
So here's her hip, and then the leg kind of comes out.
But yeah, it's coming together.
It has a shape here, and then it comes into the leg. And I like that line a lot.
What about the other back tire? Would you even see it from this angle? It'd be like back there somewhere.
to do a little quick with this one, Eric, because I realize it's a little
Let's
small
see.
and difficult to see.
Let's try another one.
Yeah, it's open.
And then after maybe this one that I'm gonna work on, I'll probably jump back onto looking at Phantoms, the Phantom Jet, because these are a little bit more based off of the Harrier jet.
And the way she does her toes, we're going to cover this more as soon as we do some more sketches of these figures, just on our own. I feel like that a little wide in there. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more once we get into the hands, because the technique is basically the same. So that's going to be it for that one.
Okay. So same thing. Let me cut this one into a third. Cheapy planes. I think something that's a little similar to what I'm thinking about, but not exactly, and I could be wrong, is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Hopefully this will work a little bit
The
better.
were they the Kree, or they were something else?
Set this in on your, the full, the video.
When they, or no, was it the first Guardians?
And Sir Lester Griffin says it's called Drawers 2.0 Wendling, right?
Either way, one of the Guardians, they had all those spaceships that kind of connected and they formed a net. How those things were kind of, I should actually probably look at those, see what they look like.
It's actually very similar, and I'm zoomed in, so you can't really see the whole thing. But I would be so much of it's so similar.
I wanted to get one profile. Yeah, I'll look at those in a minute. Let me do my Harrier jet stuff and then my Phantom jet.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's see here. Oh, Michael Johnson Curry's here as a super chat for $5. Thank you very much, Michael. I lost it. Hold on, Michael. Coming. Says, does doing studies like this help you learn faster, or would inking over the work help? I'm making nomad stuff, wondering if this way would be better. My opinion, I think that you get more out of this, but I think you get an incredible amount out of the inking over somebody too. So I think both really work. My preference is to do this because I'm having to really recreate those shapes on my own. And this is only one part of it. As soon as we're finished with this figure, we're going to try and draw these on our own. I'm going to take another look at them. What I'll do is I'll look at the figure really quickly, so my own version of it really quickly, and then try and draw it again and see how much we retain. And should be fun. Are you ready, Eric?
Go.
Oh, you beat me to it. Okay, I'm going. Here we go. Look at my chest here. The pelvis really sits. And I wouldn't draw like this just on my own. I know I wouldn't. I've never drawn this figure actually before, so probably get a lot out of this one. Oh,
Was it the Nova Core? Yeah, let me look them up real quick. I'll pull them up on stream if I find it on my phone. Nova Core.
And I love that because she's got her arms kind of tucked
Plane.
in.
I don't know if they're called planes or not. They're probably like spaceships.
Kind of takes up its own
Okay, yeah, they don't look anything like this. These things look more like Star Fox planes. Oh, okay, so core spelled with a P. My bad.
It is a question I get a lot, which is
Yeah, never mind.
what do you do?
But you see how they're small, though. I mean, at least the size is definitely what I'm going for. But yeah, these have more of a Star Fox aesthetic. They actually look kind of dope. They almost look like flowers or something. But yeah, that's so yeah, like the small cockpit for these flying vessels. That's kind of what I'm kind of shoot for. It's actually neat to look at that. They kind of look like fish.
But I feel like I got lucky that I had
Where
it taken
fish
out.
meet flowers.
I don't know yet.
Okay, we're gonna find out. Let's see how you come along.
I'll just update that structure down.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's looking good. And yeah, you didn't draw your head either yet, but
Well, this was the major flow of the gesture, so I made sure to do that first. Just by drawing a line and then putting in the shapes. So I just went the back and then
yeah,
everything on the forward. Yeah.
yeah, it's looking great. And the loft figure looked really good too, especially for not really being able to see what you were looking at. I think it came out really well.
Thanks.
All right. I'm gonna. I think I'll just draw a sword here, so I.
So how you been, Nardachi? I know you've had some
And her leg is shorter than that sword, and I feel like my leg.
some stuff going on. Is mouth feeling better? Headaches are gone? All that other stuff? I know you've
She's using really soft lines.
been going through something.
Yeah, yeah, she does, and that's something I love about her work is it is very curvy and soft, but it's really not. Because it's just so deliberate. That elbow really comes out in such a deliberate, strong way, and the line of the shoulder, and she's got these the wrists so nicely defined. Yeah, those kinds of things are really great. And these feet, if there's anybody who does feet better than that, I don't know.
Oh wow. Yeah, I see what he's talking about.
And this is already, I can feel like I'm telling you right now, Eric, this is feeling like a bit more of a struggle for me. It's such an unusual kind of a figure drawing, so different than anything I've done.
Yeah, definitely for me.
And then this
And I will
one's
say there were other figures, a couple that I just drew felt pretty comfortable for me, and I've drawn them before and had them be very uncomfortable. So and I haven't drawn anything from her work in it's been quite a while. So you retain more than you think.
It's the most trash circle I've ever drawn.
Good luck. Sheldon Martin says you did good on that girl standing pose, Eric. Yeah, you really did. Tom with Drawn Cord says I think that if you went after the gesture first, Dave, then the contour would help you with the form. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, absolutely.
This might actually be a little too big, now that I think about it.
I'm gonna say.
Thinking about the weight
When I'm
restrictions and things like
I
that.
tend to be following kind of the lines that are there, and it's probably actually not really the best way to go. It's always worked for me, but it's certainly not to say something else wouldn't work a lot better. And when I draw my own figures, I draw the gesture, and so I'm going to try and emphasize that when I do these again myself, and hopefully that'll come through.
Oh man. Well, I guess there is always something, huh? That makes sense. It seems to be the way it goes. It seems you have a good attitude about it, though. That's probably the best thing. You know, don't let those things keep you down or anything like that.
We're going quiet.
How's the saying go? Might wobble, but we don't fall down.
Happens when we think to like long periods of absolute silence.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's that.
And me here. Just incredible shape language. And especially this angle is so it kind of a broad shape here, and it comes up. Does this kind of a shape. And the way that she's got the knuckles defined for her feet, she's got good
See, this makes a little bit more sense. Like this.
And this one, I don't know that my proportions are off as much as I thought they might be. I find the more I'm really having to think about the shapes that I'm drawing, the more my overall proportion starts to really suffer. And I have to agree, that is where doing a full gesture drawing and then trying to capture the actual shapes would probably be effective.
I'd give her a bit of a turtleneck to each her hand. I still didn't make it.
Yeah, well, that's why I knew it's still not the way to do it, the way that we did that. And, you know, I would never do it, except that I'm sitting here copying a picture, so, you know, it ends up happening. I love these are just simple sketch shapes. Some artists just have such a beautiful line that just comes directly from their mind. And the eye is drawn all as kind of one. I'm not going to be able to draw it all as one line the way that she did, but it looks like just a single kind of sketch line that she did that way. I'm not worried about that sword, really. Or, like the details are like kind of thrown it in because it's there, but so that's basically it for me for this one. Somebody says, what is a mind blind? I don't know. That might be just me not articulating myself well enough. All right. So I'm going to close the book, and we're going to go into our first section of trying to draw some of these figures just from memory and see what we get.
So Tom Morris says we've missed a few super chats. We'll have to come back and let you catch them.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let me just scroll up quickly and. Oh, we missed Daniel Allen with $2. Thank you very much, Daniel. He says these are my favorite videos of yours, Dave. Thank you. I think we read that one.
Yeah, I'll go that one.
Well, thank you again, Daniel. You know, we got them all.
That's Tom Morris, apparently.
Yeah, no, I just scrolled back and got them all. All right. Okay. So I'm going to jump on over here, and I'm going to start with the first figure that I did, this one right here. And
is that by memory?
Yeah. And so I'm going to flip it over, just get a sense of it here, and see what we can get. And here I am doing a bit more of a gestural drawing because I'm creating it myself. So it just it's more of a constructive drawing process, I guess. So I remember that I had this kind of a shape for the knee here, and then the other leg really wrapped into that shape nicely. And I don't know if I can capture that well.
Yeah, what I do recommend for folks is
Yeah, thanks, man.
On gesture drawing, where you breaks down and mannequin.
Yeah, I know this folded wing looks a little funny from the side.
The human figure.
You know, it's hard to really see it when I step away, or since I'm like so close to it, I haven't stepped away from them yet and gave them like a fresh eye. But yeah, this folded wing definitely, you can't even barely see it as a folded wing. Looks like a jumbled mess. That's fine.
Yeah, it helped me a
That's
ton.
why I got to draw it. But yeah, man, lurk away. Always happy to have you.
There's my basic rough end. Um, Neil Griffin says, "Thanks for giving me a breather to grab another beer for this drink you brought." You're welcome. All right, we go ahead and start tightening it. I can already feel like I've lost some things, and while I will lose things, uh, it's just another good opportunity to get a sense of what you lost.
So I will say this is a whole lot more difficult because normally when we draw from memory, we go straight from what we've drawn right into from memory, or we've drawn about 3 or 4 other figures. So a little bit challenging.
This is, to be honest, though, this is more how I do it. So I kind of wanted to approach it this way. And this is where you'll really find your own artistic tendencies uh, really pull through, and it ends up being a bit of a combination of your natural way of drawing and what you pick up, which I think is a good thing. And these always go much faster for me too because I'm not having to. I draw very slowly if I'm having to look at something. If I'm just drawing it myself, it's much quicker. But obviously, there are things that get lost. And so there's my attempt without looking at anything.
Man, you did it fast.
Well, I'm not having to, copy somebody else's lines. All right, I'm going to see how it looked in the original and see kind of what happened here. So there's the original. And you can see how that knee really nicely connects into that knee. It has a beautiful flow to it all the way through. I lost that. Uh, I lost the nice shape of that chest. And also just the line of the body. And just the arm. There's a lot of subtlety that really didn't come through in the line. And so I'm just going to kind of go ahead and see if I can pick up a little bit more. I want to capture that line. Just a little
Ooh,
bit better.
bumping the camera.
I think that's a little better. And it's still, to me, I'm looking at this, it looks more like a figure that I would draw than a Clay Wendell figure. But this is inevitable. When you're doing these kinds of studies, you're doing it to improve your own artwork. So, having it also look like your work, not such a bad thing.
I think it's probably because you've consumed a lot of it already.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think so. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next one here. And for the next one, I think we did this one. So, got this shoulder raised, his arms up. All right. Let's see what we can get.
All right.
Carson says, David Finch, you do more studies now, or did you do more studies when you were still coming up in the industry? How has what you study changed over time? I studied this way all the time. I guess I might as well turn this over. Before I broke in. And then when I broke in, it was really, I didn't do it at all. I was just chasing work. The first time I really did it, I started looking at some Simon Bisley stuff, and it really helped me grow. And so I learned my lesson. I went from Simon Bisley and then to Travis Tress and to a bunch of different artists. I tend to gravitate toward more gestural artists than I once did. But yeah, the general effect is the same. I do it more now than I did then, and a lot of that is it's my deathly fear that as I get older, I'll just kind of forget. And some artists, you can see that your work kind of declining over the years.
Let's
And I think it's a
see,
muscle
what
you have
else
to
do we
keep working, and
have?
you can't just do professional work, and I forgot what to do there. Okay, here we go. And expect to retain everything. I think you start to lose things over time. It's like handwriting. I know I've said this before, but
Oh wow, that's actually really
if
dope
you
looking.
write your name a whole bunch of times, eventually it's just
Looking at a
a
Harrier
list
jet
of
from
something I really want to avoid with
from
my art
behind.
because I want to keep it sharp, and so it's important to me to keep bringing in influences. I have this hand here.
Really?
This arm.
There aren't any pictures.
And really pronounce these.
Okay. So yeah, let me see if I could
But I
do
remember the
this.
foot having, it came up this way, and it was a defined
Get that
shape
hexagon shape
with
that I
this
like so
between the back and the
much.
front of the foot. See a little bit of that one.
And if these are gonna be tires, something like that.
A bit of a paper in the hand there. Big long weird head. That is basically it. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this up. Vincent Busan says, Dave Finch, do you need an art mentor? It can help, but no, I really don't think so. This is stuff you can really learn on your own. And the only thing an art mentor, in my opinion, is going to tell you is you need to do this and thousands of these, and that's how you get better. You need to
Yep.
really learn the anatomy in a figure
Yep.
and understand where everything goes, and then from there you need to do studies, and you need to learn storytelling. Now, I think a mentor can certainly help with things like storytelling and some of the finer points of actually working and putting together pages, because there's a lot of skills that go into that can be difficult to learn from just yourself. And for my part, I learned myself, but then I worked for Top Cow for Marks West Street. I learned so much on the job there. So for me to say, oh no, an art mentor, you don't need it, doesn't seem fair. I certainly have that in a lot of ways. I will say though that at Top Cow, some people made it and some people didn't, and there wasn't a whole lot of patience for people that weren't gonna make it. I mean, some people, and really the big difference between the people who made it and the only difference, right now, the difference is some people put the work in, and some people didn't, and they really focused their efforts on the people that did. Kenny Whiting's here. Good to see Kenny, and he says, well, an art mentor is just incentive, and that's literally the most important thing. Yeah, for sure. And I love drawing. There are times that I haven't been as motivated to draw as I could be. I like that hand actually a lot more than what I did the first time. I feel like in screwing it up, I kind of learned some things about it. So. And I love this stage of it because I can just go ahead and now all these kind of sketchy, just throw lines are my own, and I can just kind of own them rather than trying to copy somebody else's sketchy lines, and somebody's flow is difficult. Let me get his arm in here.
can definitely see where you where you say you've studied her hands a lot because
You can
I
see it,
see
right?
that hand. Yeah, I see that hand a bunch in your work. Yeah.
Yep. And varying degrees of success, I guess, but yeah, that's certainly where I've gotten it. And he had shoes on. Just draw his shoes on. There we go. I think I kind of like this. So that's going to do it for that one. Sorry, Osmosis has a $10 super chat. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. And says, hey Dave, I've been drawing a stick figure as a skeleton for my gesture poses first, but I see you go straight to the volumetric figure. Do you recommend skipping the skeleton for volumetric gestures?
I do.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm reluctant to say, oh, you know what?
Dang, he
one
skips
method
the
is
skeleton.
better
He's
than another,
recommending it.
to make those kinds of recommendations. But I do personally feel more comfortable drawing volumetric figures, and I think I get a lot more out of it. So yes, I do.
Yeah, maybe if Russ can find that video. It was just that gesture drawing tips that Dave put out. It was quite a while ago.
Yeah, it's over a year ago now. An older one.
Yeah.
By the way, I've got how to draw action scenes coming right up. It's edited by Yuri. I just need to get it up, so it should be up really in a couple of days. So I'm pumped.
That should be fantastic.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, I can't wait for people to see it.
Okay, so that's that one. This is the original here. I really like this line here and around the knee, and this bump out here. Both things that I'm pretty sure I didn't really capture as well. So I had that, but you see, I actually had that shape that I had here over here. I kind of translated it wrong. So let me get that shape back in there. All right. So I'm going to move on to another piece of paper here, and we're going to do. This is where things are going to get crazy, Eric.
Yeah.
About the horse.
Game over, man.
Oh, that's going to be rough. Okay, here we go. I turned it over, by the way. I'm not cheating. I'm not looking. All right.
I think I'm going to pull out crayons for this one.
Russix has a leg up for the gesture drawing. Thank you very much, Russ. And by the way, thank you, Russ, for everything lately. Very much appreciated. So, okay, I've got my test shape here. I'm going to use a lot more with this. I'm so much less comfortable drawing horses or animals that my arm was here, and I remember there was some interesting kind of arm construction, and that anatomical construction in there. So
I wonder if I even need to draw from the front, or if we get the gist of it.
Yeah, I'm going to get super careful with this.
This way. That's all right. You know what? You don't get all. If this turns out.
Let me, because I'm feeling good about this right now. What was this, the third square? So yeah, let me jump back on and do a Phantom Jet.
Barrel shape for my, I think his other arm is kind of out like this.
Check that out.
Barrel shape. Here, I had, and this is where I.
And now these are going to be, I'm going to try to do something very similar to what I've been doing here with these. The only difference between these planes are, like I said, the wing placement. Instead of it sloping down from the top, the wings are going to be from the bottom going upwards. And I just want to see what that's going to do with the design.
Here,
Should be interesting.
The center muscle in the back here, the shoulder blade here, and then you can see a bit of a deltoid here. The arm was turned out kind of frontward, so here's my triceps, my arm. I think I'm kind of coming off of here a bit. It's all right. I'll do my best with it. It was something basically like this. It was a tail. am I still doing my warm up? It's all right. You know what? You really have to take
All
your
right.
time with things. And Incognito 98 says says I'm late. Um, and he says you guys. Tomek says you guys are really fast. Yeah, you know what? You've been doing this for a long time, and you definitely get quicker. Um,
Damn, that's a
I also want to
drawing.
give Eric a hard time right now and see how he's doing. See how fast Eric is going with this.
This is
Wow, there you go. Pretty quick.
yeah. The wheels are gonna come off here very quickly. I'll draw his face.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's the rest of the figure from here on down.
But it really shows you, like, I can see some places in that horse where you're kind of losing some things. But the thing is, you've never done it, and this is, I'm telling you, these kind of these you'll be able to draw horses.
Yeah,
All right.
sure.
Yeah, it's coming along.
So when was the most recent? I think maybe was it like I think you posted on Instagram. Was it a Walking Dead cover? Was that the most recent horse you done?
Yeah, actually it is. Yeah, that was the. It's so rare I ever get to do a horse in a comic. It's only been a couple of times. I was a little long with his hand there, so I'm just kind of adjusting that. And so there was a
Okay.
bit of a. I kind of lost it. I want to. Okay. So there was this muscle here, and then the bicep, and then it came down through here, and I really like that. Just the way that she defined that, so I don't want to lose that. And I remember the clavicle was just up about here. I'm just going to ignore the face. Really, what I'm doing right now. And I think that the stomach was really kind of pushed out the whole way because she had a really great line through here, and I think I lost it again. I'm going to try and adjust so I don't lose that.
Ah, that's the other thing. The fin goes back instead of forward. So I wonder if I pushed it forward.
So right here, and that was
Yeah, it
this would
wouldn't
be the
work, would it?
deltoid essentially. And so that brings the arm
Yeah,
just a
that
little
would
bit forward. I
not
really
work.
like that great gesture that she had.
Oh yeah, that's something I forgot. It'd be there too. That looks a little bit more right.
And I think that means I'm going to need to bring that out just a little bit more into that arm or front leg, really. Shadow here.
Now that's interesting.
Yeah, mine's looking like a pregnant My Little Pony or something. Yeah, how do I?
I'm really losing that tail, but this is really not the point. And I don't like what I've got here. I can't remember how she had it. It's not looking good there. I would need to reference that. And I want to take a look at how she did it again in a minute, but that's, I feel like, especially where I really lost it, and I actually don't like that shape either. Mitchell Takes on Art has a $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. It says, hey, hard question here. Apologies, I want to become a standalone comic writer illustrator. What books, tutorials, routines would you recommend if you want to help fast track to success? Okay, so now for writing, I highly recommend Story. It's the title of the book is called Story. I don't know who wrote it. I think if you told me, I'd go, oh yeah, that guy. But anyway, that's a great book for writing. I think where you can get some criticism. It was you really couldn't see this hand here. For drawing, it really comes down to you need to learn your figure proportions, and then you learn your anatomy. And then
That's
from
right.
there,
That's what I needed to
you
do.
want to
Okay.
make these kinds of sketches, and then
Right. Like, let me take a second. Let me scroll back for a second here.
more solidified figure drawing.
Yes, 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 yes.
Gesture is so foundational and important for comic drawing. If you want to be able to draw on your own,
Yes.
or if you want to
Okay.
be a fun artist and do painting, that kind of thing, this kind of gesture drawing is so essential.
Okay.
It's so huge. And then from there,
Okay.
you need to learn perspective. There's some good perspective books out there. I really recommend
Yes.
Frame Perspective by Marcus Taylor Mestra. It's a great one. And then, just start drawing some pages and fail, which you will. I certainly did. And, you just kind of get better as you go along. Blacklist Universe is, and now we know who the writers are on the top. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to leave this one here. I think there's a little bit of shadow in here, there's a little bit of shadow in here. But truthfully, what I want to do actually right now, I'm going to go grab that book. I want to see what I lost with that one. Trying to find this. Here we go. So yeah, that arm, to me, it's really difficult for me to make sense of. I would need to go through and find some course reference, and
Yeah, it looks a bit twisted, right?
it does, and I'm sure it's right, and it looks great, but I can't. It's not making sense to me, and when that happens, I need to, look further. So, and that can happen, and you can see how much I lost here. I mean, what's so important to me is I don't look here. Let me just draw. I'll draw basically human proportion arm on there. Here's my tricep, my bicep, my elbow comes out here. And it starts to look a little odd. I mean, you can kind of do that and sort of, but really, that's not what I would want to do. So I would get some proper reference. All right, we're gonna move on to. Are we on the last one? Oh no, we got this one. I think we'll skip the last one. We'll move on to this one here because it's already 9:19 and I want to go into some hands. How's that sound?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so this is the one we're doing here. And let me turn this thing over so I'm not cheating. And I remember she was a little bit more turned in her upper body toward us. Pizza Monsters and Scott Robinson's book on perspective is really good. It's very technical. It teaches you everything you need to know. Yeah, for sure. It's great. I find something that's really important to me. I totally forgot the pose. I think this arm kind of came. I forgot the pose entirely. I'm gonna end up making up my.
Well, you can pick it out again because you got distracted there by the pen.
That's all right. This hand came out like this. This is much harder when you do it this way, isn't it? It was kind of like I think the arm was in like this though. Anyway, I'm gonna just do my best with it. And then yeah, the legs will kind of turn. Okay. It's really important to me with perspective especially. It can get very technical, and I don't have any patience for that at all. Just because it's not useful to draw a comic or anything really. There's no way. Like you can take. Here's my perspective point, and I'm going to draw out to it, and then draw some verticals down, and I want these to be exactly even. And so I'm going to draw a line here like this, and a line here like this, and that gives me my center point. And so, how does this work? Yeah, oh right. And so then I draw another perspective line out to here. And so if I draw from here to here, and then down
If
to
I
the
do
next
this
one,
like this.
that'll make that one perfectly in perspective. And you can do, I don't know that you need to ever do those middle ones again. Now I just need to go like this and reference again. That'll give me my next one. You can do that if you want. I'm not doing that. I don't have time. Nobody has time for that. So
Ain't nobody got time for
while I
that.
think that stuff is really useful, I think you really need to learn simple ways to be able to make it work. My opinion. through the ball here. Can't remember. You know what? This video is going to be a bit of a waste of time probably because I truly don't remember what I was drawing. But I'm going to go for it. See what we get. See how different it ends up being.
Yeah, that's way out there. That's not right.
I feel like she's a little short on that leg. And it's just a bit of a, I don't know, like the gesture.
There we go. That's a little better. I mean, so this is kind of cool. This is kind of...
And then her leg came out here.
So basically, the difference between, like, you know, this and all the other ones, but I'm trying to see if I have one from a similar angle.
And if nothing else,
It doesn't look like it. But here you see, like, the jet engine is up top, or the turbine, whatever this is on top of the wing, while these are below the wings. You see, so the one when the wings are up top and slope downwards, like all the engines are below them, and this one has the engines on top of the wing. That's kind of the main difference that's happening here, and it does make a whole new aesthetic, you know.
You know what? That'll be one. When we come back for Monday Night Raw and we have Meredith here again, I'll do that for sure. All right, so her head is basically here. I'm not going to draw detail for her face again. Get her head here.
But it does have this really nice, I don't know, muscular look or something. But you know what? I do think this probably needs to go somewhere else. Like, out there maybe.
Coming to her leg. Foot. Her ankle bones, probably a little large. It's all right. The gesture. Toes. Her other leg. Got a little line that you're talking about, Eric? Right here.
Yeah.
It really does work well.
Yeah.
Great reference. I'm not sure that her hand was anything like this, but it's gonna be like this now. I'm basically just drawing the same hand that I did on the last guys. All of a sudden, everything happened.
Alright. So let's try another angle.
Some ugly man feet she's got. So there you go. That's the best that I could do. Without, let me take a look and see how far off it was.
That's close.
Okay, so you know, I want to really, especially focus on what I lost. You can see she has a really nice curved line through her body, and so from the side, her weight would be kind of forward like this, and then out for her hips, and then you know, down to her feet, and it gives her a nice, a really nice solid sort of a gesture. I really like that gesture. I lost that entirely in mine, and so it makes it much more stylish. And so that's where, and you can see I even brought it out here, so I would have been much better off to kick my hips back. It's something I really lost with that one. But I did also Mitchell Takes on Art says, I did a ton of gestures like this yesterday, not even close to this fit. Well, thank you very much. But inspiring for sure. Also, I want more stylized look compared to comic. Is figure gestures still useful? Yeah, absolutely. Figure gestures are very, very useful. You can take something like this, and then it can really inform a much more stylized look and ground it also. Something I'm a big fan of. If you look at Joe Madureira, his work is really stylized, or Ed McGuinness. But the figure drawing is really, really solid, and I'll tell you right now, they can do this exceptionally well. I have no doubt. Well, I know for sure they could do this really, really well. All right. Tom Cart says, Dave, you can send you my gesture on Instagram after. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Definitely do that for sure. So we're moving to hands. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we both. I love what you did with the legs though on that figure, but we both definitely struggled with that one more. And you definitely struggle with the horse a bit too. But that's what, you never did a horse, so that's how you do it. All right, so we're gonna go into the next one here. Amateur artist says, Dave is probably my favorite type of stream. Always so helpful. Thank you very much, amateur artist. I appreciate it. I saw that you were asking if you should do it digitally, so hopefully you're doing that right now. So I'm going to be looking at, this is, I think, book 2, no, book 4. This is book 4. So this will be toward the end for your book, because you've got the whole thing all in one volume, right?
I guess so. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't sound bad.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
we're
look.
going to find some of this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So this book here, I have drawn literally every hand in here. I did it a couple years ago, and it was really, really useful for me. I don't know that, what, let me zoom in a bit again, just so you guys can, because it's all very small, unfortunately. But her hands are, as much as I love her figures, her hands are really
Here,
my favorite.
let me do this a little bit of respect over here.
Okay, great.
So disrespectful with my circles, man.
First page that I basically jumped onto. Well, the
Lets
first
you know
page
that I'm
is
tight.
on the cover.
I'm still tight, even after drawing. For how long have I been
And
streaming?
I'm going to go ahead and start drawing a hand. And I'm going to start with this one here.
Going on 2 hours?
The one that's
Going on 2 hours, and my circles are still tight.
And I think that's the only
That's not good.
I'm not going to draw every hand, but so
My circle said, put some speck on me.
cut off, but it would come on just about here. That's what it looks like to me. Or that's where I'm imagining it's going to go. And then I've got the back of the hand here, and you can see where, like this little hook here, that little hook line, that's because your webbing goes much further out in your hand than your knuckles, and she really shows that very effectively, just like that. And she's got her thumb just kind of attached here, and then her fingers, something that she does really, if you notice, this is just a single curved line here, and then on the other side, she's got her knuckles defined. And you can see how quickly that really looks like a nice solid figure, or a finger. And so that's something that I've gotten from other artists too, but I've really got that kind of solidified for me from Claire Wetland. And so I've got that line coming up in here, webbing, and then I got a finger here. I'm trying to do this pretty quickly. These are gestures, and you really want to try and get as much information into your head as you can, as fast as you can. And you'll capture more kind of as you go along. You'll find that, and I'm not going to do tight versions of these. I really want to get as many of these in as I can before we have to wrap this one. But yeah, the more that you do, the more you'll be able to really just capture effectively with a simple line drawing. And I never quite capture exactly what she's got, but the point for me isn't really to copy her anyway. It's to get a great hand like that very, very simply and get a
heading between the thumb and first finger likes to define that a lot as well.
Define that.
Yeah, it's such a good landmark.
All right, I'm gonna move on to the next one. On to the next one. I'm gonna try and stick to the real.
Yeah, like you can see they're super rough there. Just putting no respect on a circle tonight. This might actually finally be the first time I'm actually throwing like decent
This one first. I really like this hand.
decent angles.
And actually, this
Another reason why I don't do like prop design or vehicle stuff like for reals, just cause
top one.
yeah,
So she's got her
I don't have the hand for it.
a block of fingers here. The back of the hand, body of the hand, and then she's got this knuckle coming up like this. And then the thumb is just about there. And I really like how she's got a bit of a, it's, what it is this wrinkle in your finger. So you got your finger and then there's a bit of a wrinkle up, and she's really defined that nicely in all of her fingers. So it's a curved line like this, and then she's got that little wrinkle defined in there. That's gonna be it. I mean, it's so fast to do these. Let's go on to the next hand here. How's it coming, Eric?
Yeah, good.
Should I be going faster to try and speed it up?
No, we're good.
Okay. I want to make this as stressful as I can.
Then horse did it.
Oops, did it? There you go. You had to know I was definitely going to pull it up to show
I knew
you.
there was going to be a curveball somewhere. Just waiting for it.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got her finger coming out here, and then she's got, that would be this muscle area in here, like this, and I kind of lost my shape in here. This is a bit of an unusual hand for me. I don't know what well, I know I've drawn it, but obviously I didn't retain it as well as I could have, so this is good for me to be doing this again.
Even at this angle, she has that pad in there as well.
Yeah. And it's defined so simply. If you're copying your own hands, you're going to get lost in a million little lines of detail. I recommend it. I mean, definitely do it. But the benefit of doing, and the way that she's got this right here, she's got that little hook in, what that is, and I'm not as thin as I could be right now, but you've got tendons right here, and so she's defined that tendon shape. And these kinds of things are so great to pick up from an artist. And it's the kind of thing that, yes, you can get it from your own anatomy, and figure drawing, like drawing, but this kind of simplification is just so incredibly useful. And I didn't really capture that hand as well as I'd like. This one that, and I think
Yeah, it definitely has a more interesting shape to it.
That's a tough one there.
With
it is a
the
good one, and yeah, I really lost the thumb. I'm gonna
with the wings coming from below.
I
I'm gonna want to get some more
when I was
angles,
doing these a couple years ago,
different
anytime
angles
I
of
did a
this.
hand like that, where I just couldn't capture it effectively or quickly, I would just do like five and just try again and again until it started coming more naturally. So my thumb is here. Yeah, it's a very unusual position for the hand, and it looks great. But all right, so we're gonna move on out of the camera a bit. Mitchell says, he says, better than I thought he'd do. So I think it's working out for him. It's doing pretty well, which is great. Sorry, Eric, I cut you off there.
No, I said that's a neat hand.
It is. And so yeah, we're gonna do this one here. It's very small in the picture, so apologies. But so he's got the thumb here, or he. This would be, I should say, he the figure, she the artist, I found this angle more difficult for myself. And also, I struggled a lot of times, so I'm a little gun shy. And then fingers are coming in like this, and then she's got the. Let's see, make sure I'm capturing these decently well. And then the last finger is like this. Thumb connects in here. And the thing about drawing hands, more than anything else, is uh, the range of positions and poses and the amount of shape change that can create in a hand. You really need to do these kinds of studies. It's the only way to get better at it. Okay, so I'm going to draw this all as a bit of a nice curve, and then to the top of it, I'm going to go ahead and draw in those knuckles. It's a nice shape there.
Go. It's always so interesting when you see the tail, the fin in the back, kind of protrude forward. It's so wild.
That's why I think because the hands are so gestural, it's almost hard to break down into shapes.
It is, and you know, this is where just a lot of study, and I haven't done this for a little while, so I kind of, and you fall back into your own ways, which is why it's so great to just to review this way. I think I would be a better artist for really going in here and doing this again, all the way through the whole book again. And it's relaxing for me to do, even when it's a struggle. I just really enjoy this. All right, so there's that one. I'm going to move on. I'm trying to stick, I think I said that a minute ago, I'm trying to stick the hands onto this page. So it's a little easier. And so we have a hand that's actually very similar in this one, just from a different pose. It's really this hand here, but it's slightly different.
Yeah, so the finger extended.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So, and because we did that a minute ago, this should be just a little bit easier, which is kind of nice. And this is where, it's really, it becomes kind of compounding knowledge. So here's the back of my hand. I'm drawing that as a bit of a volumetric shape like this. This comes out like this. Got my knuckles, or my fingers coming in here, and then this finger. And again, a nice kind of curved shape here, and knuckle. So it gives it a nice curved shape. Making sense there.
Yeah.
Trailing off. All right.
This one's a lot easier to look in, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this in. Mark F. Huizinga, apologies, Mark, says, oh, it never gets truly easy, Mitchell, but you do get more comfortable. We all do have our favorite areas that we usually show in our art. Yeah, absolutely. And, the more areas that you can get comfortable with, it just it makes your art much stronger. But yeah, you'll find when you're starting to learn how to draw, some things will be more difficult, and chances are those things will always be a little bit more difficult. Just have natural strengths. And it's really just having the willingness to do the work that you have to do to get better at the things you're not as good at. What would you say you struggle with the most with drawing?
Me?
Yeah, you. I'll ask it.
Wow. This is quite long. My hands definitely a problem. I would say that's the biggest area.
So there's my attempt at drawing that hand. It's not exactly the same. All right, though. I feel like I captured it well enough to be kind of happy enough with it, Your book is so small. They look good, though.
Sorry, they're so small.
Yeah, they're coming up great.
something I picked up that she's doing, which is going to help me a lot. I've always struggled with this over here. We can close the book.
Shit.
This angle
Whoops.
over here, the way she defines that really helps. Normally when I draw it from the side, it's kind of soft, and it just doesn't work well. Adding an angle is definitely gonna, I think, improve my hands a lot more.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, let me find the page again.
Oh, okay. Well, right. While you do that, you keep moving here. There's such a great hand here. It's so small though that I don't want to inflict that on you guys. You just keep
No,
going.
let's do it. Let's do it.
It's so small you wouldn't be able to see, and I see a couple of those ones here. They're on the inside. You know what?
Where is it? Okay, I'll go on the page. Which hand is it? Oh, his right hand or left hand?
Well, we've already done a couple like this, and on my own, I would do both of them just because, the more you do. But I was thinking this one here.
Oh yeah, yeah. So this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be way over here, unfortunately. Hopefully you guys can see the reference I'm looking at. So I've got the back of my hand, and as a simple shape, it would be basically like that. Then my knuckles. I'm gonna come in like this. Ball for my thumb. And that's going to be enough for me to start. I'm a little long, but it's all right. Really nice, simple, elegant way to show the folds that you get inside your fingers when they bend. You know what my favorite part of the stream is?
Mm-hmm.
All of these ones, but especially this one. I'm going to come out of this. I think a little bit better than I was before.
Yeah, I think good news, you always pick up something new that you didn't before. There's only so much you can retain, I guess, on the first go around as well.
There is, and you know what? There's only I don't learn when I'm drawing sketches. Like I love them when I draw. I really enjoy it, but I'm not learning. So this is really very gratifying. All right, so I got that one. I think actually before I move on, let's see it. Can't see it there. I want to draw this one here.
Okay.
It's similar to something that we've done before, but with the fingers extended.
See, like that, I think she probably knocked out in like 5 seconds.
She did. Oh, she did. I don't know if I'm going to be able to really effectively draw this. I'm going to do my best here, but to draw it and keep it in the camera. So I've got the base of my hand. It would be my shape. I think it's enough. Now, and go a little higher. And then the fingers come out.
Yeah, it's hard.
Harder than you expected?
Yeah. Just because the fingers, I don't know how to construct it. But she was like, I'm pretty sure she was purely gestural there. And just whipped it out and came out amazing, and she called it good.
It's very gestural. It's very structurable, though. Like, watch, I'm going to draw the pinky. So I'm going to draw the top of it first, curve it to a bump, and then straighten it out. And then the bottom, I'm just going to draw a curve.
Just round it a bit.
Yeah. And I pointed a little bit too much there. And then she's got this kind of a padding just defined like that. Really easy. And then the next finger curves up a little bit more, so I just make my teeth a little bit higher.
I'm sliding over on this one.
Just like that. one. And one more.
Oh yeah, you nailed that one.
Yeah, it's actually, and then the thumb is coming towards you. So what she's drawing is she's got um, this shape, and then your knuckle rides higher, and so she's got that shape attached. And what you see here, and you can be sure again, she did that as a quick gesture, but she's got that bumps down into the thumb just like that.
Yeah, what makes it difficult is the third finger is raised.
Yeah, but if you bear in mind how how to draw those fingers really quickly, and if it's more comfortable, you could draw it all basically uh, both fingers a shape like this, and then adjust from there. Hey David, you can just pronounce my last name as Gizinga if that helps. I'm so saying it wrong though, aren't I? It's Dutch after all. What's it got to do to potentially join your stream in the future? Really enjoy these things. You know what? We will have a review stream coming up very, very soon. Uh, really, a week. I have not actually been working on it, but I will this week. So it's coming right up, and you'll be able to bring your artwork on, and we can talk about it. So that is coming. I'll make an announcement about that just as soon as we kind of get that one sorted out. But it's coming very, very soon. I'm way behind on doing that. I haven't done one for a few months. All right. So I'm looking at a hand that might beat us both.
I just wonder if you did.
Did it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking this one, Eric. What do you think?
Which one?
That one? Right here.
The one that's facing us? Yeah.
Okay. And I have a feeling it's better if I close in. The problem is if I get closer, it gets blurry. But it's.
You know what's funny is a lot of these hands I'm like, oh, that's easy, and then you go in there, it's like water in there.
I know. So my basic shape for this one is just going to be like this for the back of the hand, or for the the palm, and then my fingers are going to extend up from that, and I'm going to do the same basic thing. There's the pinky, and she's got the pinky there, and then this portion here, fine, just with a line. And this is already actually starting to feel, I'm going to say, a little easier for me. I'm getting kind of the feel for stuff again. It's just been a couple years.
Did you use this book for, when you were working on Wonder Woman? So I'm seeing some Wonder Woman hands here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually, yeah, that was when I first really started looking at it. Did I say 2 years ago?
Not sure.
I've been saying 2 years ago this whole time. Yeah, that was Wonder Woman. That was 2014 and 2015, so longer than I'm thinking. Time flies. There you go. Ultimate says, I can't draw hands to save my life. This is how you do it. This is how you learn. You need to just give it a try.
I will also, again, if you go onto David's channel, he did a how to draw hands video on his YouTube channel as well, which is exceptionally helpful. You may want to check it out.
Welcome. Thank you for that. Yeah, and yeah, there's definitely a whole video, and it really goes into more of the anatomy and some different concepts. This is really just kind of gesture drawing, and it is so much of it that we're not covering anatomy as much as I guess we could, but with Claire Wendland, I love her gestures so much. Really wanted to cover that. Finding a few pages without a lot of hands. Skipping ahead. All right, so I'm thinking, Eric, it's 9:51.
Mm-hmm.
You have time for, let's do one more hand. It's done.
Sure.
Okay. I want to try and find one that's on this page. I just saw one that I really liked, but. Okay, here we go.
How many pages is that? Let's see.
I've got two hands actually, but they're both really good. We can do both of them. I think we can fit it in.
How far do you get that away? It's like
I'm all in.
we'll see what was there.
Okay. Am I on?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Edward, I'm looking at these ones here. Sheldon Martin has a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Sheldon. I missed, if you said it, is this your favorite Wendland comic? Also, thanks, Dave and Eric. Love learning much of her work is sketch work, which I love. But yeah, for me, this is the clear one.
Yeah, I would say the book for hands because her other books, although they're absolutely incredible masterpieces, it doesn't go into hands like the Bread and Myth work, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
I don't know if you,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if you noticed the same, Dave, but as great as her other books are, this book is just full of hands.
Yes. Yeah. And they're all so incredibly well done. Victoria, by osmosis, says there's no easy way around training with gray matter in hand and draw gestures with smoothful with practice. Absolutely. It is. And it gets more fun the more you do it. So I'm drawing this hand first. I'm just drawing basically this is going to be my
All
finger.
right.
Just to give me a general shape there. The hand, the fingers
It's
kind of
looking
come
neat,
off.
man. I'm really like taking in the differences that
Just a
I'm
quick
in
shape,
between the two
and then
planes
this finger comes
and the
up
two
here,
different types.
like that. Like that, a bit of a
I mean, it
ball.
doesn't sound like much, but one of them is kind of like
I love how she's got. Now that would be this bone. See right here that you really can't see. This is
like
completely
let's say
observed.
you have your
Exactly.
tubular shape of the plane, like looking top down on it, bird's eye view. You have your glass area, the cockpit,
I'm sure got great hands.
and then one of them you have wings,
All right. And then
like the slope down wings go like this, and then the back
just gonna tighten that up.
kind of goes forward like this. So
She's super
that's
humble.
one plane. That's the one that I've been working on for like
Very humble.
the last bit, and then the one that I'm drawing now has more of
Pursue getting better. And not just like, hey,
drawing again that tubular shape, cockpit area,
Yeah, one of her
top down
books,
view.
I was telling Dave about. She went over old sketches of hers, and
The
so
wing
she felt like she had learned a lot
is
since
more
the last
like
time she drew them. She
this,
drew
so you
them
have
again.
your
So on one side of the page, she has the old drawing. On the other side, the new drawing. It's just amazing.
something
to
like
see
how you
that she's still willing to learn.
I more expect planes to look a little bit more like this.
To me, I really think, yeah, there are artists that are just naturally going to be more talented than other artists. And that just makes it easier, But it doesn't necessarily make you better. What really makes an artist better is the willingness to keep growing and not stagnate. So there's that hand. I did not capture it as well as she did.
So that's like the differences that I'm seeing. It's like the major difference between the two.
This is one I think on my own I would draw a couple of times just to see if I can capture a little bit more.
Like, so these are the shapes between the two, and then this one obviously has the jets on top of the wings, so you see them.
We're going to move on, and I'm going to do the same.
And then this one you wouldn't see.
Which one? The one next to it?
The jets are below.
The other hand of the same figure. And so I've got my arm kind of coming up here.
I definitely find it helpful to draw the wrist as well.
Yeah, it really kind of. It's the back of the hand here. Now it's flat because I'm not drawing the
So
thumb
it's
yet.
kind of like that.
The thumb is a bit of a separate shape here, and it comes out just like this.
And then yeah, I guess this
I
one,
really
same
like-
thing.
you can
The
see,
jet
and if I bend
on the
my
wing.
wrist, it's obviously very rounded,
There's a bit on the side there.
flats just a little bit, and it rounds out.
And then I guess you could always
Captures that very, very nicely here.
draw whatever extra accoutrement there if you wanted.
And I'm going to go ahead and start to just draw this hand.
But yeah, I mean,
That one works a whole lot easier than the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a big part of that might be just as you're going along, it's getting easier.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope you're kicking yourself right now for not doing this.
Yeah, he's definitely do it more.
You know, the amount of artists that I'm kicking myself for right now for not. Because I've got actually a pretty good list of artists, but I'm really
But either way, that's kind of like the major difference between the two that I'm working on right now is kind of like these sort of layouts. So these are kind of the base ideas that I'm thinking about while I'm drawing them.
In my own hand, I feel like this.
And then it's like I said, it's trying to figure out the angles because everything is always on an angle. You know, these vehicles they work on a three-dimensional axis, meaning they work on like the X, the Y, and the Z. They don't just move forward and backwards, but they kind of tilt, angle. They can flip upside down. You know, they're coming at you. They're going away. Like it's so. You know, there's a lot to it. And then I'm working on photographs, so it's however these things can be photographed. You know, you're never gonna get like perfect ones,
But being that it is 10 o'clock, we have to wrap up one day or one.
perfect pictures. So it's just like looking at a mass of pictures, and then and yeah, letting that be.
Chance to use on my own, but that's something I definitely recommend. Same way that I did with figures. You really want to go ahead and look at a hand and then try and recreate it yourself. It's an important part of the process, but I think you really get kind of a sense of certainly how I go about this, and hopefully the value of Blair Wendling's artwork, um, and why I get so much out of it. So, here's cool. I try and get the camera. I always go the wrong way. So yeah, she's
Oh man, is the stream ending? Is
just to look at, but then also just such a valuable resource for drawing. So
it is.
I hope that this was valuable for all of you guys. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming in and watching and hopefully drawing along. And if you haven't drawn along now, hopefully you'll take the chance to do it.
Here.
A little later on. I think you'll be amazed at just how much you can get out of a session like this.
Why I created Wisecrack and why I left.
Your hands that we missed toward the end there. I don't know if you know what I did.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me finish off something down here.
Unmitigated success. And you did those very, very.
Cause where we at? We're already at 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I need to go through this book again.
Yeah.
For sure.
Draw every hand in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you said, this is the way to improve.
It really is. You know what? I think I'm going to do it too. And I never have time, but this is time well spent. And the amount of times I sit and play video games. You know what I did today, Eric, before this? I sat, so I'm playing Conan Exiles. I sat and I collected rocks and made bricks. And I made food for my, because you have trolls in the game. Anyway, yeah, really the amount, I spent probably 3 hours in that day. I really could just sit and do this, and I need to start doing that more. I'm wasting way too much time when I could be, improving. So hopefully you guys will do that too. Bill Durkin says, great lesson, guys. Thanks for letting us draw along. Yeah, thank you very much, Neil. I really appreciate it. Dan Genovese says it is valuable. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Dan. And thank you, One by DR.
All right, let's do this one.
6. Thank you very much, Dan, for moderating and helping us out with the links. Tomakart. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. I don't think we really. I have, and I've mentioned this a couple times. So we have Johnny Desjardins coming up. If not this coming week, certainly within the next 2 weeks. I need to email him and say, hey, when can we get you to come on? He's going to be doing some palette knife painting. He's actually going to come here. He'll be beside me in my studio. Not much of a studio right now, but so I'll be painting with him. That's going to be a lot of fun. Eric, you're going to be with us too.
Yeah, I'll be monitoring the chat.
I talked to Eric about it. He won't paint. He doesn't want to do the palette knife painting. So maybe we can convince him. We'll see. It'd be great if you did. But either way, yeah, we'll be doing that. Certainly, if not this week, it'll be the next week. I just need to talk to Johnny. We will also have a review stream coming up. That will be on Robert Marzullo's channel. I need to contact Robert and say, hey, when can we do this? And I've been so busy, I have not done that. So I will do that tonight before I go to bed and make sure that we can get that arranged. So
it looks like Brian Stelfreeze is in the chat.
Really? Well,
someone with the name Brian Stelfreeze.
Well,
it'd be great if it is. Yeah.
It certainly would be. It would be a massive honor. I'm just going to right now assume that it's true. And thank you so much for coming. I don't know what to say. I'm a massive fan. I know you are too, Eric. find
drawing
something
hand.
down here and some paint with, that would be
Oh
incredible.
man, yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Eric, you wanna say something before we go?
No, just thanks again. This is always so much fun to do. And yeah, it's like you said, if you need to do it more, personally I do. So
Yeah.
I think what I'm gonna do this week is work my way through the book again.
Yeah, well, so will I. No video games for me this week. I'm gonna go through this book again.
So Brian will have to paint sometime. Brian's not free.
All right.
Something said that?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Man, you were so on. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to figure it out. We'll figure it out. That would be incredible. That would be
That's
amazing.
awesome. Someone
Yeah.
stops at right at the end of his stream that he
On
wants
that note,
to work with,
before
and he's like, "Oh, I'm trying to end the stream." I love it when that happens.
Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
So, this should be going up.
All right, so what I got playing in the background now, I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but there's a channel on YouTube called Wisecrack, and it would always be like, it'd be like, "Hey, YouTube, Wisecrack here," or something like that. They always start their videos like that, and then they break down like movies and TV shows and philosophy and all this stuff. Uh, and it's a channel that I like to watch. And recently, there's the guy who usually hosts it. I haven't seen him on there, named Jared. He'd always be like, "Hey, Wisecrack, Jared here," and then referring to the audience as Wisecrack, even though the channel's called Wisecrack, but that's what they do. And they've had like different hosts on lately, and I don't know what's going on, but apparently Jared started his own channel, and he has like 3 videos on there. And I don't know, this one is called Why I Created Wisecrack and Why I Left. I'm guessing it probably has something to do with he sold it to a bigger property. They had a difference in mind, and he separated himself from that company, losing his creation in the process, which happens all the time. Earlier in the stream, I was talking about a comedian, Ari Shafir. He had the Tony Hinchcliffe video that I was playing earlier, and he had the same thing happen to him with Comedy Central and his show called This Is Not Happening. He used to do this show called This Is Not Happening. It was like stand-up comedy where comedians would go up and tell a story. It was literally just to go up and tell a story. It wasn't like tell jokes. It was tell a story, and obviously make the story funny. And yeah, it was his thing. He created it. He owned it. And then after years and years of doing it on his own, he finally sold it to Comedy Central. He was the host. I think he did the first season or two, and then um, they started. Comedy Central was like, "Yo, we want to do it like this," and Ari Shafir was like, "Nah, we don't do it like that." And they were like, "Well, goodbye." And they just took his This Is Not Happening show, changed the host, and continued the show. And it has nothing to do with Ari Shafir anymore, unfortunately. He created it, he sold it, he got booted out, and round the world goes. So, yeah, it sounds like I'm guessing something like that may have happened with Jared, but I don't know. It's a really long video, and I don't know if I'll be on the stream for as long as the video is going to be playing, but hey, I'm gonna let that play.
Okay, awesome. We are live. Hello, everybody that is currently watching.
Howdy.
Nathan, let me know if you get access to the stream.
Okay, I will, as soon as let me see. I don't see anything yet, and I'm on your channel, so, okay, 2 watching right now, live, so, okay, I'm up. I can see it, we're live.
Okay, great. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this live stream. This is the first live stream of the channel. First of all, I want to thank everybody for leaving me such very kind and encouraging comments in my initial first video. I apologize for the potato cam again. I do have a better microphone, although as you can see, it's still a bit rigged, you know, I, with these bandanas, but I hope you will forgive me. Anyway, I want to introduce Nathan Lowe. He was the voice of 8-Bit Philosophy, as well as a philosopher in his own right. Him and his partner, Mia, were the consultants, the philosophy consultants for 8-Bit Philosophy, as well as throughout the channel's history. They really served as my backbone for making sure I didn't get stuff egregiously wrong. So Nathan has been there since basically the beginning. We would have company parties at him and Mia's house. He has just been so generous and so helpful and just an all-around great guy during the entire story of Wisecrack. So I wanted to introduce you guys to him, as well as, since he's been there from the beginning, allow him to kind of keep my thoughts in line as I try to recount the story of Wisecrack. So thank you so much for giving me your time, Nathan.
Thank you, and hello, beloved viewers.
Yes.
Even though I'm not doing my disembodied British voice. Yeah. So no, I really appreciate the shout out and really appreciate you getting in touch with us. I'll just say very quickly that I saw a Thug Notes video eons ago, and
Thug Notes. I love Thug Notes.
and
Holy shit. That's probably where I started
she
watching the
knew
channel.
about it, and she sent you, sent Sparky Sweets actually, a fan letter, and that's how the introductions were made. She I don't know if it's to your credit or what, but she actually thought he was real, which I think is very funny. But
Yeah.
well, real.
Yeah, and we can talk about that, because that was very much my intention.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's kind of how it started, and we met at the very beginning above a little bar, I think, if I remember correctly, over in Silver Lake in the old office,
Right.
and went through the stuff, and you know, we thought it was a fantastic idea to do not only the Thug Note show but the 8-Bit show, and it was just a real pleasure being part of that journey from the beginning. So you know, I just want to thank you for giving me a chance to do his voice and just be a part of it. It was a wonderful run, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So give me what you got, Nathan.
Well, so with the Thug Notes thing, I wanted, because you know, we talked a bit about, obviously we talked about 8-Bit, and we talked about what your idea for that show was and everything else, but I always have kind of wondered where the germ for Thug Notes itself came. I mean, was it because you had a good sense of just the playfulness of what this would be, or was there an overarching sense of, you know, I really want to take what could be seen as sort of musty-dusty ivory tower academic stuff and make it accessible to people, but be true to what the books actually say.
Yeah. So let me give just a very quick background as to how I landed in Los Angeles and how Thug Notes came to be. So, long story short, I went to UT Austin Film School, and then after film school, I moved to Los Angeles with the desire to become a filmmaker, like many bright-eyed people do when they come to Los Angeles. And I graduated college. This was in 2010, and it's important to mention.
Yeah, just like me.
Because the media landscape, the cinema landscape, everything is so radically different today. And so when I moved to Hollywood with the intention of making independent films, that was much more of a realistic business. The business doesn't really exist anymore. So long story short, I moved there. I worked as a commercial producer for 2 years, kind of making ends meet. And then my best friend Jacob, who was living in London, he was the first employee of a tech startup, and the tech startup had gone public, and he was kind of done with it. And so, long story short, I kind of seduced him to come to Los Angeles and try to be filmmakers together. Because, you know, in college where we had met, we would oftentimes, watch Truffaut movies late at night while, indulging in college excesses. And, we would have these fantasies. And so I kind of called him out on it. And I said, hey, man, you're coming to Los Angeles and we're going to do it. We're going to become like Matt Stone and Trey Parker. We're going to become like the Coen brothers. And so look, he moved out here. He did it. I quit my day job and I did not have a lot of money saved up. This is stuff that you're not supposed to do. They tell you you're not supposed to do it.
Yep.
So we ended up taking meetings for about 3 months and made no progress, and quickly realized that the independent film world, there was no money in it. Like, it's really only a playground for people with a lot of money. So we were very disheartened. We were thinking about just ending the relationship right there. But then we decided, we met all these people in these coffee meetings. Let's make a YouTube video just to show people, and almost like a holiday party, because it was around the holidays this time.
Okay.
So that was Bubble of Please. Bubble of Please was basically a mix of urban comedy and like Jewish comedy. It was really just a holiday gift card that we were sending to people that we had met. And one of the things about Bubble of Please that really bled into Thug Notes, which was our first project, which was the first Wisecrack project, and that was very unique to my working relationship with Jacob. And as I continue down this narrative, we'll kind of understand, just even though Jacob was mostly invisible during the entire time, he was the CEO, and his contribution was very, very significant. But Jacob grew up in Laredo, Texas. Laredo is right on the border of Mexico, so about 80% of his community was Latino, and Jacob speaks perfect Spanish, whereas I grew up in Houston, Texas, where my high school was a majority African American. So in Bubble of Please, we were basically writing these Latino and Black characters respectfully that very much reminds us of the areas that we grew up in.
Okay.
And I just want to say real quick, if anyone goes back and watches the show, I think the first episode has been taken down, and I don't think it's because it's too offensive. I think it's because we used someone's music without permission. But there are a couple of episodes that are still up, and I would say that anyway. Strangely enough, Roseanne Barr found it and tweeted it, and then it went viral.
Wow.
And we basically said to ourselves, okay, we've been here for months. This is the only progress we've made is on YouTube. And through that one video, we were getting meetings with agents. And at that time, both of us were so discouraged by the entertainment industry and how important it was just to have connections that we were like, oh my God, we would be so grateful just to get a desk job at one of these agencies. Never mind actually get to sit across from one of these agents as potential talent.
Right.
So we were like, okay, there's something to this YouTube stuff. So then I had an idea because I had a friend back from Houston that I had known since I was 6 years old, and his name's Joe. And this guy was brilliant. I mean, we would have these conversations over Facebook messaging about Marvel movies, about Batman movies. We were obsessed with when The Dark Knight Rises was going to come out because we were such diehard Dark Knight fans, and we would theorize about it, and we would recommend each other books that might have ideas that may manifest in the last movie. And because we had this character, his name was Jaquan, in Bubble Please, I almost wanted to do a spin-off show called Thug Notes, in which we used my friend Joe's intellect and crazy knowledge about classic literature.
All right. Yeah, sounds like he's gonna go into the history of Wisecrack, which I guess makes sense. Um, as for me, yeah, this tailpiece might even have to go up some like that. Either way, that's fine. Whichever way it does. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of this stream. I'm gonna take a quick break and then I'll be back in a little bit. But we got quite a bit done. I mean, what do we get? This square and then these three, so that's 4. It's about 8 drawings a bit, and 8 drawings total. And I believe this one as well. So yeah, we got 1, 2, 3 of one type of plane, and then 1, 2 of the other two. So yeah, 10 drawings all together, 5 squares. And yeah, man, I think these things are getting better looking, and they're definitely formulating. If we go back to my original ideas, when I was just straight up drawing planes, and then I was like, nah, I want to get that T-Rex shape, and I want the cockpit to kind of work like this. And I think the planes that I'm making are more something along these lines. You know, they're just not as simple as these are, which I'm actually a little mad at. I'm like, damn, why not make them more simple like this? But I really like this plane, man. I want to get somewhere like this, you know. And looking at the size of the cockpit here on this plane, it's like it's pretty big. So I'm just wondering how all that's gonna pan out. But yeah, looking at where I started, I mean, especially looking at a plane like this and a drawing like this, I was like, oh, it's so trash. It's so bad. Even though I like this hexagon shape here, I was still trying to figure stuff out, but I like the bulkiness here. So it was like, okay, like I started finding out like what I liked and then how to like kind of remake it, and now it's just about drawing it and remaking it from all these other angles. So yeah, man, got 10 of them down, and I guess maybe on the next stream later on tonight, I'll do these last five here, maybe something like that. Maybe I'll still have this wisecrack video playing in the background. Um, Maybe not, but either way, I want to thank Kickstand and Nardachi for stopping by, man. You know, it's always a pleasure speaking with y'all, and yeah, man, for everybody else, I want to thank you for watching the Andrew Glowczewski Experience, episode 214, working on these vehicle props, concepts, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, man, so far so good. And then these things are probably going to lead into the next character portraits and everything else that I'm going to be doing. And yeah, man. Other than that, stay tuned, man. G Mr. Joe on all social media. Follow, like, and subscribe. Links are in bio, along with my website, gmrdrew.art. You can contact me through there. And yeah, if you're interested in things like this, and you know, you check out all my work, so you can see I work pretty much draw anything and everything, digital, traditional media, whatever you like. So if you like that, yeah, man, you can hire me or hit me up on Patreon or Fiverr for commissions and things like that. So check me out there. G Mr. Drew everywhere. Make it real easy for everybody. So yeah, man. Thanks again for watching. Peace.